Welcome to the Rockology Show. I'm Matt, your host, and today a very special guest from the band Beyond the Black, lead vocalist Jennifer Haben. Jennifer, welcome to the Rockology Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I know this has got to be an exciting time for you. You and the band have a brand new album, Horizons, due to drop later this week. So what's it feel like to get this album finally out, especially now with what's going on with the current state of everything with the COVID-19?
Yeah, I think we're super excited to finally release it, because we were waiting for that since March. We were finished in March. So for me, there was no question to show the people the stuff that we did during the last month, because I think this is the album that is the most positive one that we ever did, and I think the people need positive music right now.
All right, before we talk a little bit more about the album Horizons, let's first talk about how the band got here right now. And let's go back a little bit in time, the history of the band. So let's go back to the very first album, Songs of Love and Death. It's my understanding that that album was originally put together with an assortment of session players and songwriters, and then after the fact, your first lineup of the band was formed to go out and tour with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's some kind of correct, but not really. So I have to explain a bit about this, because people could think about it different than it was. So first of all, I have to say I started very early as a musician. I think the first time that I sang in front of people, I was 4 years old. I started my first band when I was 9 years old, and all of that stuff happened very early. And Beyond the Black was the first project that was completely like my baby. That was after 4 years of trying things out, what genre I want to do and all of that stuff. That was the thing that I decided that is my big life project. And I wanted to have a band that is sharing that time with me. And and I have to say that the first album I wrote a lot before the boys that were actually the first 2 years with me in that project, that a lot happened before they came, so they didn't write for that album as well. I think for the second album they wrote like some stuff, but they were actually also not really interested in doing that.
Okay, so
but,
no, I guess the question would be then, I guess it sounds to me like what you're saying is this is the type of band you wanted to do. This was the type of music you wanted to do. So let's be fair and just say that the first group of musicians you had in the band maybe were not on the same page with you. And the realization came into play. And it's like, you know what? I love playing with you guys. You guys are great. We have a great sound. But, I think we're going in two different directions. This is what I want to do. And maybe the members in the band at that time probably weren't on the same page. Is that a fair assessment as to why that first lineup was probably disbanded? And I guess you put that search out there for a bunch of musicians, like-minded musicians, which comes to your current band. So in a way, is that kind of how the new lineup and what Beyond the Black is right now?
You could say it like that. You have to say you cannot say that I told the guys that they don't care or they cannot be in Beyond the Black anymore. They decided to go. But I think the reason why all of this happened was because we weren't not on the same page. They didn't want to invest so much that I did. They didn't feel like this is their baby so much as it was mine. So you were right saying we were not like on the same page with this project. And now I feel having a lot of people around me that really think this is their baby too, and this is what I wanted. And I think, this is the reason why I think all of the steps that we take are in a good direction.
And I agree with you, because definitely the sound was there in those first two albums. And for a lot of people out there, for the genre of symphonic metal, those are some classic albums, and the sound and everything. So what you accomplished and what the band accomplished on those first two albums, you have to be proud of. But then you move into, I guess, what is the heart of the hurricane in 2018 with your new band. And you can see there's a subtle change and shift in the music style, still the symphonic metal, but a little bit more geared towards a little bit more melodic hard rock. Was that more of a mix of the guys in the band writing together, or was that more or less the direction that you wanted to take the band all along?
No, it was definitely because of the new feel that we have as a band. Because there comes somebody. I think Chris was the one that said, okay, maybe for the next album we can try to go in a bit of more of that modern stuff that we are actually listening to on tour. We have a tour playlist, and when we started to write this album, we just listened to some of these songs and said, okay, what is that one thing that we could put into our music as well, and it's more like we are now. And that was of course, it was the reason that we changed. All of us are changing during these last 2 years, and all of us are also more comfortable with this situation. Of course, it's not a cool situation, or it was not a cool situation for my new lineup or my boys to be the new one, that was not a comfortable situation for them, but now they feel comfortable as well with being in this band, because of course they are now 4 years in this band, and the lineup before was like 2 years, so it is more of their band than it ever was to the other one.
And I think when you listen to the new album Horizons, you could definitely see where that the band mentality kind of gelled together with the sound of the album, and which is going to lead us right into your new release Horizons. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about this great album. And I will say this, I've been looking online, I've been looking at the posts, and this has happened to a lot of bands. You have a lot of your old school fans that like the old sound that was on the first two albums, and in part on the last album as well, that may not like the new direction or some of the new sounds that they're hearing on this album. And at the same time, you're seeing a lot of fans that are embracing the new sound and the new direction that you're going in. How does that make you feel right now? Or did you guys know going in that you were going to get some pushback from some of the old school fans that were more into the symphonic style metal that you guys were doing?
I think there is nothing or no comment that I didn't expect, to be honest, because I know people don't like change. Or the most one, I think a lot of people are also open enough to just listen to the songs. And I think that is the base of our fans. I think most of the people are open. So this was also the reason why we trusted us to just release it and to see what happens. I think I have to say that after 3 albums, you see how people react, and you feel like the new band that wants to be loved from everyone. And after 3 albums, for me, it felt like, okay, not everybody will love us. A lot of people are hating us, and this is okay, because everyone is feeling something like this, if you're a musician or whatever. So this was the point when I decided, okay, let's just do what we want to do, and the people will either hate us or love us, and that's okay. And maybe this is also the reason why we did that step. And I think I lost the question.
It's okay. Actually, you answered the question perfectly. And,
Okay.
and so don't worry about it. But I just want to go ahead and say this. For me, symphonic metal, and I didn't coin this phrase, and I actually saw this from another individual that was reviewing some other albums. And I think he kind of said it best as to what symphonic metal can be at times. And that could, I guess I'm going to say, bombastic and overwrought with just that sound, and it's overwhelming. It's like going to an orchestral concert and just being overwhelmed for a couple hours or an hour. And as a person that loves listening to music, I love the sound of symphonic metal, but after a while it can be a little bit overwhelming. And I think in a way, I think that's why I was drawn more to this album, Horizons, because although it still has a lot of that element of the symphonic metal, it also has a lot more of the melodic hard rock. And more of the melody and stuff that you get with more, I don't want to use the word poppy or mainstream because that's not the right word, but that's how it comes across. And for me, and I think for a lot of listeners out there, it makes being able to listen to the entire album from start to finish a lot less, because sometimes with symphonic metal, sometimes it's just you're exhausted after the whole album's done. And I think sometimes you just need a little bit of that break, a little bit of that melodic hard rock or something a little less. You know what I'm saying, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I think I can really understand, or I can feel what you say. And this is also something that was always important for me and for us as a band to just show the people different faces and to really have an album that you're listening to from the top to the bottom, to everything from the top, and they are not bored or overwhelmed or something like this, so that you can repeat and repeat every single time again. And I really enjoy such albums as well, more than like every single song is the same song. I know these bands are maybe also successful with all of this stuff, and there's a reason why this is like this, but I like more if bands are showing different faces, and this is why we are doing this.
Okay, first off, I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you. I'm going to put it out there. I think this is definitely a change of pace for you guys. I also think it's a big turning point. And from my perspective, this is the best album out of the 4 that you guys have released so far. So I'm putting that out there.
Thank you so much.
In my opinion, and I wanted to do this interview because we get albums, we get releases and all that. And there was something about this album that drew me to it. And I said, I want to listen to this. I listened to it over and over again. And so far, I think this is probably one of the best albums of the year so far, at least for me, as far as listenability.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yes, so I wanted to get that out there. And I also wanted to put this into perspective. And I think you might understand where I'm coming from and how I look at this album. There's a band that you may know. I think you may have even toured with them, a band called Within Temptation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, they came out with their album, The Heart of Everything, which is a classic symphonic metal album. I love that album. Mm-hmm. I played that album, and it was like, this is great. And when they were coming out with their next album, that's what I really wanted to hear. I thought that's what I was going to get when I got their next coming album, which was The Unforgiven. And The Unforgiven is a completely different change of pace, different direction from what they did on The Heart of Everything. And at first, when I first heard that album, the song Faster, which in a lot of ways is reminiscent to the track Misery on your album Horizons, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I was like, what is this? This is not what I signed up for. And I was one of those fans that was going, I don't like this. Let's fast forward a couple years fast now. That happens to be one of my favorite albums from Within Temptation and the direction that they went in. It took me a while to get used to it, but after I got used to it and I understood what they were doing and where they were going, it worked for me. And, they've kept that up for their upcoming albums as well. So for me, I think it's a similar trajectory for you, is that you guys are going, yes, you're still hanging on to those elements of the symphonic metal, but you're bringing in other elements from other genres of music, whether it's melodic rock, hard rock, dance, techno. It doesn't matter. You're bringing all that in there for your own unique sound. And I thought, to me, this is probably the best comparison of your album Horizons and how I best can describe it out there to other people as well, because to me, that's exactly how I see a lot of people probably perceiving this album. And it's my hopes that I think give the album a listen, and I think they're going to be impressed with the album and like the direction you guys are going in.
Thank you so much. This means really a lot to me to hear that, because The Unforgiven is also my favorite album from them. And I think Within Temptation is also, of course, one of these bands that they inspire us, of course. We're listening to them, and everything that we're listening to is inspiring us. And thank you so much, because it means so much that this album is means, or that you see it like a change. And this is all we want. And all we want is actually that the people like it. And we hope that this makes a change in maybe that we can tour in USA, or I don't know, to come across some days. And yeah,
I mean, and
I'm overwhelmed right now, to be honest.
you know what, and you deserve to be, I mean, overwhelmed if you want to say it. I mean, you deserve it. This is a great album. It's like I said, I find the differences between your albums. You could see the merging of where you were going on the last album to where you are right now. So I definitely think, and I'll even put this out there as well. You're on Napalm Records, and another artist on Napalm, Cobra and the Lotus, also went through a very similar thing that you're probably going to be going through as well. I mean, they had a unique sound that was uniquely theirs that a lot of their older fans appreciated. But then when they came out with their Prevail 1 and 2 albums, totally different direction, totally different shift in sound. And in my opinion, it was the right direction to go. And, you know, it's been successful for them as well, too. So there's definitely a lot of different comparisons that can be made between a couple different bands. And I think from there, I think you need to let the guys in the band know as well that this is a great album, and that there's nothing on this album that you guys need to sit there and go, you know what? You don't have to justify this album to anybody.
Yeah, I will tell them. Thank you so much. I will tell them, definitely.
All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper into the album, if you want. I mean, let's just get the let's get the elephant in the room out of there. The song "Misery," which, yeah, that's a different track for you guys. And you know, I was on your Facebook page. I was looking at the post that you put up there, and there was a reference to this song being like the Disney song in a way. Can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
Yeah. I have to say that Chris and I are real Disney fans. When you look at my Instagram channel, you can see that as well. And so sometimes we just do like funny things for us, and nobody should ever listen to that. But this time, this Disney idea, that we called it like that because we felt like it was some kind of a Disney idea. And with this idea, we came up with that band session that we did in the first. Yeah, I think the first session that we did for this album was a whole band session, and we didn't have that before in the previous albums because of different reasons. Because you're afraid that too many opinions could destroy the song and all of that stuff that you're thinking about when you don't have enough time to try things out. But this time we had this time to try things out, and we did that band session, and it was amazing. And that "Misery" was the first song that we actually finished for this album and wrote for this album to free our minds and do something completely different in what we did before. And this is also the key of this song. We wanted to write something that is totally different to what we did before because we wanted to change a bit and to free our minds. Yeah. And the first thing that came up was that Disney idea, because we never did something like this before, and we worked with this idea and did something new with the whole band together. And this is also maybe why this sounds so poppy. We wanted to do something like this because a lot of people are telling us we're too poppy.
It works. I love it, and it's catchy, and I actually think that's the type of track where you get crossover from other groups of people that are listening to music. And, you know, trust me, I get it. Everybody has a style of music, but sometimes you need a crossover track. And if you look at it, go back to the 80s when hard rock, heavy metal, and all those bands took off. It's because there was a track or two on an album that appealed to the mainstream and to the radio. And that's how people got pulled into a genre of music perhaps they may not have listened to before. And that's how people discover stuff, is when they hear something that they like, and then they go and they investigate or they look into it, and that's how they discover other bands of music or, you know, whatever it may be. So I think in a way that song may be a crossover to get a lot of people that maybe may not have listened to Beyond the Black to come back in there, take a listen to the album, and maybe go back to your back catalog and listen to some of the older stuff. So I think if that was the goal, I think it's going to do the trick for you guys.
Yeah, but honestly was just one point of that. The main point was definitely to write something that is also some kind of a middle finger song for all of these haters that are telling us we're too poppy. So we just said, okay, let's do something that they hate the most. So, but also to free our minds and to really make a change, because when you just try to make changes and you're doing just like a super small step because you don't know how to do it. For us, it was the right step to just do something that we know, okay, we didn't know if the fans would like that or not. So this was the step that we did. And we said, okay, maybe this song, we don't take it for the album, but just let's write this song to free our minds and then come back to what we did before so that we really can do a change. And this was the main reason why we wrote Misery.
Let's stay on the poppy side of things with another track on the album, which basically, let's talk about the band Amaranth. Amaranth has made and been successful with incorporating some of that poppy sound into their music. And you have a track on the album, Wounded Healer, where Elise actually does steps in there as a guest vocalist with you. So how exactly did that song come about? I know you guys had a tour planned for this year. Unfortunately, it's been canceled and pushed back. But was that part of it? Did you guys already have a tour planned and let's do a song together, or was this something that just came together naturally?
I think it came more together naturally. First of all, we wanted to make these 4 shows in Finland, and I think this was last year. We didn't know each other before, and we wanted to get to know each other during these shows. So we had in our minds, of course, maybe do a tour together, because I love their music, and I love Elise's voice. I really think she can sing, and live as well. I really love when somebody can sing live as good as on the studio version. I know that this is not normal anymore, so I really appreciate that. And when we got to know each other, we liked each other, and I think Elise is also super funny and a bit chaotic, and I am that too, so this is really something that I like. And I think we did a great thing together with Wounded Healer, and I really think that this song is a lot better with her part in it as well.
And I agree. All right, Jennifer, I just want to say thanks for joining the Hard Rockology show. I appreciate you taking time out to sit down and talk with us. And once again, congratulations on the band's new album, Horizons. Best of luck, Jennifer, and hope to see you here in the States. And good luck to you and the band.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your interest, and hope to see you very soon. And we're excited to finally release everything, and so looking forward to all the comments. Goodbye.